So, Ashley.
Yeah.
So, I'm super excited that you are going to teach us about how to enter in the shamanic journey. Mm-hmm. First of all, how did you get into shamanic practice?
Yeah, I took my first shamanic practice in Montana probably about 10 years ago. I started kind of experimenting in the spirit realms. I was getting into yoga and really starting to feel energy. And so I had the opportunity to work with a shamanic teacher there and really started to learn about the earth-based elements to shamanism and how to work with the spirit worlds for healing and to do different ritual and ceremony, really first for my own healing and then to be able to bring that to other people.
Beautiful. And so this shamanic workshop that we're going to do on April 29th, what can we expect?
Yeah, so I really want people to have an understanding of what shamanism is. And of course, it's a big topic, right? So we're not going to be able to go super in depth, but to really have an overview of like, what is that? What does it really mean? What do we mean when we talk about it? And then how do we use those principles or those guidelines or those techniques to be able to have our own experience of sort of entering the spirit world and being able to seek our own healing information and practice our own journeying because it's accessible to everyone, And so it can be kind of scary or intimidating to think about some of these practices, but when we break them down into more of the elements of them, there is an accessible way to use them on our own.
Awesome. So we're going to learn how to, you said finding home, your home base, right? What is that?
Yeah, so when we are thinking about journeying, there's like a landscape, there's a journeyscape that we work with. So as we're using our imagination and we're blending it with intention, there's a lot of visualization that is part of this. And so we cultivate sort of our home base, our starting point. So when we enter a journey, we have sort of a landing spot that we get very familiar with, that grows over time. That's sort of our unique, intimate setting that we begin from. And so the more comfortable we are in our home, then the more we can learn, expand, and explore from that foundation.
Beautiful. So once we get into the journey, then there are things that show up, right? So there might be symbols or structures or, different things that we see.
Yeah.
Will we learn how to apply those things, bring them back out, and what we do with those things when we come out of the journey?
Totally, yes. So yeah, the interpretation and the integration of the journey is just as important as the actual experience, right? So we'll be practicing, but then we'll also be sharing our experiences in that small group, and also talking about metaphor and symbols and encountering different energies and safety and how we can bring those metaphors, symbols, elements back into ordinary reality and use them for integration for days, weeks, and months, right? The healing continues after the journey experience.
That's super exciting. So we're going to actually learn how to enter into the journey, understand the landscape of the journey, look at what symbols or metaphors come up in the journey, begin to learn how to interpret those things, because obviously we can't learn it all in a little workshop, right? Yep. And then how to apply it to our life, because we're going to actually practice it and then have a sharing circle so that we can really get into what everyone saw and experienced in the journey. And that's beautiful. And it's all going to be set to music, the journeying part. So we're going to do the sound bath, right, at the end. Great.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
It
I'm
is.
super excited that you are bringing this to GlassWing and to the lovely people here, and some of your people from your community will come, and from your practice as well, just to empower anyone to apply this practice to their life. Because I feel like sometimes we get caught up in we need to go to someone to do this or go to someone to get that. When we can heal ourselves, if we have the tools, we can heal ourselves. We're our own best healer. We know what we need most. Sometimes we need some guidance to get us there, but we should all feel empowered to heal ourselves.
Indeed, yes. Yes, and there's so many resources, right, at our disposal, both internally and externally. And so I think just learning how to speak the language of those resources, right, and find the entry points is really empowering.
Yeah. And I was talking to someone today, and we were talking about how I got into music and sound healing, right? And I said the thing about music therapy is really what got me into it, how to apply my musical acumen to helping people heal, like using it in a therapeutic sense with scales and intervals and things like that, right? And one of the things that she said was, you know, it's why go to college? Everything is there. Everything is being shared. So why not take advantage of what's being shared out there?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, no one looks at my certificates when they walk
Right.
through the door.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
They're like, do you have the goods? Right?
Right.
And so sometimes we get stymied with thinking, oh, I haven't done the training, and I haven't done this, and I haven't done that.
Yeah.
And so we keep ourselves back from like diving into topics because we feel like, oh, that's a specialized thing.
Right.
When really, all of these things are universal truths, right?
Yeah.
And we all have the ability to pass down these healing modalities to other people without appropriating, right? Because a lot of people look at shamanism and they're like, that's appropriation. However, you're not saying, I'm a shaman.
Right.
You're like, this is a practice of shamanism. I'm a shamanic practitioner. That's vastly different than saying I am a shaman.
Yeah, and that's an important distinction, right? Because shamans are people designated in a society, right? Traditionally indigenous societies, to serve the function of healer for that community. And so we're not playing those roles for a specific community in the same way, right? We're using some of the practices and techniques to be able to access healing. But that's different than the traditional medicine woman or medicine man role in a society.
Right. So when a person leaves, are they going to be equipped with tools and resources in case they're in their journey and maybe things come up that they don't understand, that they need help for?
For sure. I mean, we're going to talk about kind of safety and setting space and strategies for those pieces, but also, I mean, I'm a resource for everyone that shows up to that experience. And so there's support after that, certainly for people as they're learning. I love to hear about people's experiences afterwards, you know, even if it's just like excitement about like, hey, this thing came up in my journey and then this thing happened in my life. Like those are sweet moments, right? And so certainly my hope would be that this circle, this gathering, becomes even just a little circle of support for people as they are practicing their own skills.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so April 29th at 10 a.m. at GlassWing Medicine. We're going to be right here and demystifying the shamanic journey. If you want to join us, you can register on the website. There's already about 3 people joined so far, so there's only 10 spots. So this is your opportunity to come and participate, learn a new healing modality, and be part of community.
Yeah.
So we hope to see you there.
We do.